Think about how challenging it is to put a project together as in construction, and basically to do the same thing for the business side of it, to grow and develop and, increase or improve the operations of the business. It takes as much effort. So you spend 40 or 50 or 60 hours over here in construction, and then I'm saying it's the same thing over here for the business. It's going to take you 30, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Like, are you kidding me, dude? When do I get a chance to sleep? I don't have a life. And I'm like, no kidding. How old are you going to be before you start to experience life like you want it? I want to tell you right now, whether you like it or not, there is a better way to do business. Hi everyone, welcome to the Business for Builders podcast. My name's Max, I'm your host, and I am the CEO and president here at Smith & Sons in Canada, and I am the ambitious founder of EliteBusinessAdvisory.com, coaching for contractors. Great to have you with me today. If you're a first-time listener and you've just dropped in to check us out, I appreciate you doing that. I trust you get something out of today's episode. Bless you. And if you're a long-time listener, I value your attendance. I really appreciate your attention. And again, also, we will want to make sure we continue to give some value. So this is the final episode of Mindset Month. No, we're not quitting on you yet. We've busted through the 200 episode level, so we're now focused on 300. And we're just going to keep on pumping. So yeah, final episode for the month of September here of our Mindset Month. I'm really focused on you, the human, really wanting to get some of those business fundamentals that sometimes can be hard for us to process, not always straightforward. And really, I think, takes a lot of determination internally to see it through. And so, this month being that focus on, the organic creature that's within your business and the business leader that is you, this episode, I'm going to talk about grit, and I've got a bit of an acronym for grit. And so this is going to be a fairly short-ish episode, but I'm going to break down grit because I think what it takes to really investigate and to really transpose and compose what all of those principles are that I've just shared with you in the last 3 weeks or 3 episodes, really there's, a part of your internals that needs to have a consistent determination and a dogged determination that to change my situation, I really have to change the way that I go about my business, And I know that it's easy to put the bag back on and just go and knock frames up or whatever that you do as a technician. But really, as a business operator, we now have to, I think we've got to split ourselves. I really would encourage you to give some consideration. And it's a very unorthodox approach, so please don't throw rocks at me. But I know that what I'm investigating, really off the back of, what I would say is just, a very unpleasant situation, is that looking at builders and the failure rate across the board, inside of the Smith & Sons world and outside the Smith & Sons world as a whole, is that it is very difficult to run a company by yourself. Now, ironically, a little while back, I was chatting with a business owner in town here, and he runs a steel fabrication company. And he actually was fortunate enough to be able to take on that, or take that over from his father. But his father made it clear that A, you're going to buy it off me, and B, I'm not going to sell it to you by yourself. It's too much company for one person. Okay. And so, I would urge you to start considering the option of finding someone in and around your life. It might be another operator. Remember, I'm in a business partnership with another individual who's got the same credentials. We both are carpenters by trade, and we both are qualified builders. Okay. And yet my forte or my function or my role is really lead generation, is inquiry management, is sales, and is a lot of the estimating. I probably do 70% of the estimating, and obviously closing deals and then going to contract. Then I hand off that project file, metaphorically speaking, because it's all digital now, but I hand that off to Jed, and he does the construction side of things. So we're looking at this strategy as something that is actually going to not just, help us make more money, but I think exponentially, we're a little bit excited about the potential because if he's just got to build, and I've just got to sell, then, we can actually gain exponential momentum within the business, and maybe growing the business will be a little more straightforward and less stressful. And the reward for developing the business and in that light or using that process might actually be a better way for you and I to build businesses. So I would say give that some thought. You might have someone in mind that you go, you know what, he's not as good on the tools, but he's really great with people and he's very organized in the office, And so there might be this joining of forces, that might actually help you enjoy not just more profit, but a better lifestyle. At the time of this, actually, I would have just gotten back from, because we're pre-recording, because that's what you do. But we for me to go overseas is not a big problem because of technology, firstly, and because I've got a business partner. So if I need boots on the ground, I know that the clients and everything else concerned is going to be handled at a high level because my business partner has got a vested interest in the business as well. So, I think if you're feeling under the pump and it's very hard to manage the business, not just day-to-day operations, but then you've got to start thinking about growing and expanding the business. Forget about it. It's too hard. I can barely manage what I've got going on. And so I think that maybe, as a bit of an introduction to, we always say that as builders and general contractors, we've got a high level of determination and grit. But sometimes, it's just like, mate, I feel like I'm flogging a dead horse. It's like, I've been at this for so long and I've not got any traction. I just can't break the $1 million mark in sales. I just can't break the $2 million mark. What's going on in my life? Why? And I definitely think that, I think finding the right business partner is not easy. But I think if you are determined to put something like that together, and again, this is where maybe getting counsel from a third party as it relates to, looking into developing a partnership and what's in, because I've done that several times now. That's where it's like, hey, what do I got to do? If I want to do that, great. I've got the person. How do I set that up? Tell me about a shareholder agreement. Do we have to start another company? How do I add him or her as a director? Like, what is some of the, what is the process in doing that? Because I really like the sound of it. So, don't be afraid to reach out and hit me up on email. Right. So the acronym for GRIT, which is what you need to run a business by yourself for sure. But it also is important if you're determined to get a business partner. We're going to break it down into 4 areas. G stands for goal, R stands for resilience, I stands for integrity, and T stands for teamwork. Over the last month, even last month when we had Coach Mac, who was a retired Navy SEAL, if you missed that episode and you've just joined us, then that was 200. I hadn't interviewed anybody on the show since episode 113, which was like 18 months ago. But I've really felt compelled to bring Coach Mac in because he's a mentor of mine and really introduce. And I've already got feedback, from people about, hey, that was one of the best episodes I've heard. So, it's really encouraging. But we talked a lot about, the human traits and attributes. And so I think we're just going to really break it down here as a good way to round out the month of September as, Mindset Month, and really just talk about some of those key specifics around what it takes for a general contractor and a builder to succeed. So the first one is goals. We've got to set clear, measurable, achievable goals for your projects and for your business. And see, straight away, this is what makes it such a challenge, because when you're talking about setting goals for projects, that's a project in itself. And then I come back to you and say, hey, by the way, we've got to set some goals for the business now, which is a cumulative effort of all of the projects that we're doing within the business. And so again, it really does reinforce, and maybe me going off on a bit of a tangent about a business partnership might be a bit of a light bulb moment for you. You might go, you know what? I thought and I was against having a partner because then I'd have to split checks and da-da-da. And I know it's hard, but it's really hard to play good quality rock and roll unless you've got a bass guitar, a distorted guitar, a drums, and a lead singer. And if you can get another guitarist, that's great. It's very hard to play high-level rock and roll if it's just you on an acoustic guitar. It kind of doesn't fly. And so, maybe you're looking at it saying, I want to do more of a performance. Maybe I can set the project goals, no problem, but I really have no inclination to set business goals and stick handle that or be the quarterback on that. I think I need someone who's more specialized to running the office. Now, look, the word of caution is to be careful, because there's a lot of people that talk a big game but don't really have the goods to be complementary to you and your business objectives. And it is a tricky one to stack up. Again, I think that, having someone else in your corner to objectively look at some of the, some of these possible candidates for your business partnership, that's where a business coach might be able to help you out. So don't be afraid to hit me up and get across there, and let's have a chat if you think you might want to go down this rabbit hole of, considering bringing on a partner. But, defining project timelines, financial targets, long-term growth long-term growth objectives, and then obviously regularly reviewing and adjusting goals to stay on track, adapting to any changes that you come across. Like, it's almost like, think about how challenging it is to put a project together, as in construction, and basically to do the same thing for the business side of it, to grow and develop and, increase or improve the operations of the business. It takes as much effort. So you spend 40 or 50 or 60 hours over here in construction, and then I'm saying it's the same thing over here for the business. It's going to take you 30, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Like, are you kidding me, dude? When do I get a chance to sleep? I don't have a life. And I'm like, no kidding. Okay. So, businesses run off the back of good systems. And then you've got to have good humans in the position on your bus operating those good systems to run the business. When you're doing everything and wearing all the hats, it's a supreme challenge. So, but goals nonetheless, win, lose or draw, cry me a river, you've got to set goals, And so this is why it takes grit to not just do the construction side, but all of the sales and general management within the business as well, including business development. That is definitely why, goals is in a massive part of that, business development. So here's the second thing. R stands for resilience. I've just talked about, setting goals for both the project itself, but also the business side of it. To do that, you need a high level of resilience, because, you're obviously handling challenges on the construction front, and then you've got to handle challenges over here in the, the business management front. So resilience, the construction industry is full of challenge, right from project delays to unexpected issues on site. We need, as general contractors, to develop the resilience to handle all of the setbacks without losing momentum. Momentum is hard to get and easy to lose. If we lose it, we work 3 times as hard to build it back. Okay? So without losing momentum, we've got to learn from our mistakes. We've got to stay focused, and we've got to maintain positive attitude even when faced with adversity. So it's in the face of, those demoralizing situations where you've lost money, or where you've overrun deadlines and the client's angry at you and all that sort of stuff. Boy, oh boy, talk about grit, like that level of resilience that you need to dig deep and maintain a certain level of momentum despite the challenge. Mate, I'm telling you that we're talking about high level. If you just want to be kind of getting paycheck to paycheck and have an average company, like, no, disregard everything I'm saying here. But if you want to be a $2, $3, $4, $5 million business, and that aligns with your personal goals, then you are going to need a high level of grit. Okay, so resilience is one of those things. Right, integrity. Operate with honesty, transparency, and ethical standards in all dealings with clients, subcontractors, and suppliers. Build a reputation for being reliable and trustworthy, which will foster strong relationships and lead to repeat business and referrals. Guys, stop telling me how good you are. Like, I had an interior designer in this room a month ago, and I said to her, which builders in this town do you recommend, to clients that come in your doors looking for interior design, but then are looking for a builder? And she said, there's no one that I really recommend. And I thought that was a bit of a surprise. Maybe she's telling me some white lies. But at the end of the day, I said, that's a little disturbing. But I want to be the guy that you recommend. And I'm not expecting you to believe me. I'm going to spend the next 12 months proving to you. That's the difference, okay? And so that credibility, you don't just wake up and go, I'm going to be credible now. They're going to believe me. Trust is developed through your behavior. That referral is going to come from me delivering consistently at the highest level over and over again, like that. And so, when we've got integrity, we are open, we're honest, we're transparent, We probably admit the fact that we messed up and we maybe didn't handle it the best way. 3 things that make up a good apology is to admit that, you're at fault and, that you want to fix it and you what can I do to make up for it? Like those sorts of things is what people don't expect perfection. They expect high levels of communication and honesty, and if you start deflecting and blaming, you really discredit yourself in the eyes of those that are most important in and around your business. Right. So you want to build the reputation. We always talk about reputation, but when it comes down to it, the minute we have the opportunity to improve our reputation, we take the easy way out and we don't follow through. We don't communicate at the highest level, or we don't spend time being, very honest, with clients around the fact that, we could have done things better. Something along those lines. Integrity is almost a byproduct of good behavior. Good decisions and good behavior. Good decisions have good outcomes. Bad decisions have bad outcomes. I know guys make bad decisions and then they wonder why there's a negative outcome. What, you think that good just comes to you by default? What are you're dreaming? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't matter what you think about yourself that builds your brand or builds your reputation. It's what other people think about you and your behavior that actually solidifies your reputation at a certain level. Think about that, okay? So it really is like we are working for the approval and the head nod of everybody in our ecosystem, from team members on payroll to subcontractors to suppliers to design services companies like engineers and interior designers and clients, of course, So it's integrity is not something you just go, I'm going to wake up and I think you can wake up and say, I'm going to be integrous. But if you get out there and you do something that lacks integrity, don't expect a good reputation. It ain't going to happen. Right. So we want repeat business and referrals because that is the cheapest client acquisition cost that you can get. When someone refers you to someone, it's a very the likelihood of you winning that job is high. And of course, that the amount of money that you had to spend to acquire that customer was zero because you acted integrous. You did the right thing. Even if it was kind of a little detrimental to yourself in the here and now, you do what's right. Okay, the final part of grit. So we had goals, G, resilience. So that's R, integrity is your I, and teamwork. T is T for teamwork out of grit. So success in construction is a team effort, no question. Invest in building a skilled, motivated, and cohesive team. Foster collaboration amongst all stakeholders, including clients, all of your design services, your subcontractors. Effective communication and coordination are key to delivering successful projects on time and within budget. Is building a team hard? Yes. Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it worth it when you get it right? 1,000%. Okay. I've been in and out enough rock and roll bands to know that when you're in a group of guys and or girls, and you're rocking it out, it is fun. It is fun and entertainment, and it's just a great place to be, right? And so the same can be said when you're knocking out work. You're right in that inquiry management. You've got good systems, but you've got good team in and around you. You've got good support. You've got high level communication. You've got a very compatible. The chemistry is tight between team members. The communication between team members and clients and subcontractors and suppliers. All of that is the thing just works like a well-oiled machine. That is probably a byproduct of A, you being a very good human, and B, your business being highly systemized, okay? And then, because part of the system is recruitment, so you're like, okay, are we going to allow these people or this human to be on my island? No, they're not a fit. Okay, you got to leave. You got to go. And so I think what we strive for probably is more so systems, and then we just take an average human. And a lot of the time, maybe that's because we are an average human. Remember, we've got to improve. Last episode, it's all about us getting better, us continuous improvement. We've got to have an awareness that says, even though we think we're doing okay, we think we're doing okay, are we doing okay? That can be, that's going to leave a lot to be said. So, I think if we're going to, I often say that our team makes us as the builders and the general contractors and the owners of the building company, that network makes us look good. If I've got a good relationship with a supplier and they bump my order up a couple of days, that makes me look good. Because then maybe that material gets there and my subcontractor can go, mate, thanks. I had a couple of days off and I was going to lose money by not working, but now you've got this material here. Freaking awesome. Now I can get cracking. and so then the clients are happy because obviously there's progress. And, if you're running a business that is well-oiled, what happens is you become what I would call a preferred employer. So people on your team, on your payroll, actually enjoy the fact that they have a position with your company because they know that your company is a sought-after employer. People want to work for your company. So that's the power of developing a good team and having good teamwork and a really good company culture. But just remember that if you haven't got a good company culture or a good team, it could be the guy or gal looking at you in the mirror in the morning. Just consider that. I'm just trying to bring some awareness. Maybe it's not. Maybe there's some other reasons. I don't sit a seat of judgment. We never got taught how to recruit. As a carpenter, the word recruit was never, ever mentioned, let alone financial administration and, knowing your numbers and things like that. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that we did not learn as tradespeople. I get it, which is why we are at episode 205 right now. I am trying to do what I can for the general marketplace to help people become aware of where there is gaps and why they do lack performance and why they're not getting traction. It's a big deal to me. We're about, we want to make money, absolutely. But there's some legacy that's going on right now. And I think for you as an employer or a business owner or a company owner, what is your legacy going to be? Is your company going to go to the grave with you? Or is there a system and people around you that in the event that, when it's your time to move on, that the business will continue? Like, is that the case? Or is it pretty much going to, turn up its toes sort of right beside you? So, if that's important to you, which I think it is, if you're listening to this and you've got this far, I think you're all about not just building a business that makes money, although profitability, we need to check that box first. But I think at the same time, we can make a difference in our community. We can make a massive difference first and foremost in our own family. I think, I could be guilty of this, is giving way too much my own personal time to the business and not really designating enough to my family. Like that's an easy one for, guys and gals that are motivated for sure. So look, just some food for thought. Focus on putting good goals together. You've got to be a resilient operator. You've got to have a high level of integrity, and you've got to understand the power of developing an A team. Okay, that is what really that is going to demonstrate a level of grit within your business because you're focused on those things. Don't forget to get across to Business for Builders VIP on Facebook. Answer the questions. If you're a good sort, I'll let you in. Like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. One of these drops every week. We're hoping that it is giving some value to you where you're at, helping you grow and develop. And of course, if you want to get a hold of me and have a chat with me about coaching for contractors, elitebusinessadvisory.com. Hit that blue button that says book a consultation. Just give me 30 minutes to chat with you about your business. There's no hard sell. You'll either be able to, you want to get on board as far as a client goes, or you won't. But I'll make that pretty clear. But you will walk away with a lot of value. That one-on-one is super important. That's a valuable 30 minutes of your life. So don't be shy. Get across there and at least ask some questions. It could be the very thing that you need to go and build that kick-ass business. So on that note, I will see you on the next episode. Cheers.